Here's the real essence of Cartagena. Electrolytes. Somebody was hungover.
The city of Cartagena is one of Colombia's Caribbean coastal gems. Founded in 1533 by Spanish colonists, it has grown to become a thriving modern city with over 1 million inhabitants.
It is home to some of the best preserved colonial architecture on Earth. Beaches, luxurious high-rises, seaports, a massive colonial castle, a colonial fortified wall, and just a short boat ride away from some of Colombia's most prized islands and beaches.
It is a city that takes pride in celebration of Black Afro-Americano culture and is one of Colombia's most iconic tourist destinations.
We're not always fans of tourist destinations, so this time around, we spent only 5 days in the area. Before visiting, we have heard so much about Cartagena, we were just simply curious to know if the city really lives up to its hype. We also feared it might be too touristy for our taste. So after spending 5 days there, here's our thoughts and impressions. The fortified wall in Cartagena is impressive. It was a project that lasted nearly 2 centuries and ended in 1796, constructed with the purpose of defending the city from continuous pirate attacks. Now it's a flocking ground for tourism. You could say there are 2 predominant religions in the city, Catholicism and tourism. And you know what? This reminds me of some current events. Maybe the US should really consider building its own impressive wall between the United States and Mexico, so it too can one day have its own tourist destination for the world to enjoy a century or 2 from now. Much like the Great Wall of China or the Berlin Wall, it could really be a great addition to these political barriers turned tourist attractions. But that's besides the point, and I'll put my political joke to rest. In reality, large fortified walls, like the one in Cartagena, serve as a relic of the past. Conflicts and issues that define different times. They highlight continuous struggles of government order and control, and how every generation seems to be plagued by the human motivation of greed. And they truly are a reminder that we humans could have been and should be more kind to each other. It's a great place to watch the sunset, take photos, and practice that human kindness by letting other tourists do the same.
Within the walls resides the iconic colonial city that spans within a 2-mile radius. The exteriors of all the buildings are perfectly preserved to maintain their colonial charm, and walking the streets gives you ample photo opportunities on nearly every crack and corner. These old colonial buildings have been converted to host activities of all kinds that cater to ways of modern life. You will find dining, bars, hotels and hostels, gift shops, retail shops, luxury shops, street vendors, nightclubs, and so much more. It's one of the reasons why Cartagena has continued to rank as one of Colombia's top tourist destinations. Built around a colonial bullfighting stadium is a mall, Centro Comercial La Cerrezuela. The structure of the stadium has been preserved to its original aesthetic and the fighting ground converted to an indoor water fountain. It's neat to see and gives you a glimpse of bullfighting's importance to the Spanish colonizers. It's definitely worth a visit.
Inland, just east of the wall city, is a castle, Castillo de San Felipe de Barajas. As the colony grew in its importance due to slave trade, silver, and other interests, the Spanish Empire required protection from pirate attacks and invasion. So this castle was built in the 1530s and expanded on in the 1600s by slave labor to ensure the protection and security of the region. Since its construction, this castle has seen several battles with pirates, the French, the British, and South American revolutionaries that eventually broke free from European Spanish control in 1814. It really is a landmark with deep historical significance. I was nerding out as I was walking around the castle because it reminded me of The Legend of Zelda on Super Nintendo. There's a castle in the video game that looks somewhat like it. As I ran through the dark tunnels of the structure, I couldn't help but imagine fighting monsters to save the Princess Zelda herself.
Cartagena's geographic position makes it one of the most important trading ports, just behind Barranquilla, as it has access to Colombia's largest river, Magdalena. Instead of trading slaves, gold, or silver like the colonial days, this port now sees a large distribution of cars, oil, and agricultural goods. Without doubt, this has contributed to its growing wealth and skyline. Just south of the walled city is a peninsula laced with luxurious high-rises. There are two main beaches on this peninsula, Playa de Boca Grande on the west and Playa Castillo Grande on the south. We spent a few hours on Playa Castillo Grande. As we heard, it was the more chilled out of the two beaches. These beaches are good, but don't compare to the beaches of Santa Marta or the beaches that you can find on the islands close by. This is because Cartagena is next to a river delta that makes the water more cloudy than normal. But it is still a great place to soak up the sun and have some coconut water, or just simply watch the sunset. If you're looking to have a luxurious experience with seaport and beach views, Cartagena is going to satisfy your quench. On the east side of the peninsula is a beautiful path trail that you can watch the boats come in and out of their docks, take a run, ride a bike, jump on your longboard, or just walk slowly down its path. It really is stunning.
It may come with no surprise that with everything we mentioned about Cartagena so far, it all makes it a highly sought out tourist destination. With that comes larger crowds, higher prices, and a potential to be scammed if you're not careful. Just recently, a couple got charged 2 million pesos for lunch and 4 beers. That's about $400 US. And another family got charged 6 million pesos for lunch. Imagine paying over $1,000 for lunch. You all have to be careful out there. With the crowds also comes aggressive street vendors and street rappers who will literally surround you and rap until you give them money. Don't make any eye contact, don't smile at them, don't even bob your head to the music. Unless you want the rap experience, then by all means. So if you're going to the city center or walking around Boca Grande, expect to be hustled at nearly every street. However, if you want to escape the noise, the vendors, the hustle, and the city, it may be worth your time to visit a more secluded island or peninsula nearby to find peace and quiet.
Another great attraction to Cartagena is the fact that it is a large city only an hour's boat ride away from some incredible islands and peninsulas. On these islands and peninsulas you can find some of the best beaches Colombia has to offer. We chose to stay one night on Isla Grande, a small island just about 1.5 miles in length and surrounded by coral. This gives the beaches their clear turquoise blue and green color, and it's perfect for swimming. On nearly every corner of the island, you can find beaches to lay out and choose to spend the day. We love the larger of the beaches, Playa Libre. If you go in the morning before 10 a.m. or evening after 3 p.m., the beaches are less crowded and super tranquil.
Gracias.
For our stay, we stayed at Cocolizo in the southeast corner of the island. There, they have a pool, dining area, and beach beds for you to really spend time and fully relax. No vendors hustling to make a sale, and no noise from the crowds or streets.
Gotta eat the eyeball.
This island is unique too in that there is still a small population on the island. The only way to really get around is to hike its dirt paths that connect every small village and beach resort, hotel and hostel.
That's our dog. We got a dog and didn't even try to.
Not quite in Cartagena, but close by, are a few natural mud volcanoes. El Tutumo marks the most popular because it is the largest in the area, standing at 15 meters. It is quite unique to take an afternoon to see the thing and jump into its soupy volcanic mud.
Let me check my pockets.
The mud volcano and the views from the top are not the only surprising thing about the area. What is equally surprising is how the locals are going to hustle you for a tip. You're going to have to tip the guy who takes photos and videos for you, the guy who massages you without your consent, the guy who washes the excess mud off of you when you exit the pit, and the guy who holds your hand when you're exiting the pit, the guy who carries your shoes, and the lady who bathes you in the lake. And you might also have to tip the guy that you just look at in the eye and say, "Hello, how are you?" No joke, they will literally surround your car and just wait for you to hand the money, otherwise they're not leaving. But don't let that stop you from visiting. It's still worth the inconvenience, just be prepared for that. Right around the corner from El Tutumo is the Pink Sea, as it is called, which is a salt production facility. But it usually is pink during the dry season from December to February. So it was just blue when we arrived. However, it still made for a really pretty walk.
Our mud volcano tour guide, Santiago, whom you can contact via the description below, mentioned that most of his clients are Black Americans, and in fact, he often does a tour to the first free African town in Colombia, Palenque, which is only an hour away from Cartagena. This got us thinking, Cartagena really is a hub for the celebration of Black culture, which is evident by the food, the people, the clothing, and the art in the area. Cartagena's slave trade history, like any slave history, is tragic, but still serves as a good reminder that we humans could be more kind to one another. Cartagena and its surrounding towns like Palenque are a great place to witness the positive impact of African culture on the world.
Out of all the restaurants we visited, our two favorite were Persepolis and Candé. Persepolis has some very thematic cocktails, and we ordered the kebab Persepolis, which is like a kebab covered with like a sheet of pita bread. It was delicious, and we ate the whole thing.
Winnie, what do you got? Oh my god.
Es un plato que en los años 538 antes.
Se le pasó la vida ante los ojos.
At Candé, they serve traditional Colombian Caribbean dishes from Cartagena itself, and it's definitely a spot you cannot miss if you're in the city.
In many ways, we find that Cartagena lives up to its hype, but we also find that it's just cram-packed and full of tourists, which also comes with higher prices. Specifically, food menus are typically 10 to 30,000 pesos more in contrast with other cities across Colombia. The beaches are also semi-impressive as they are kind of clouded by the river delta nearby, and super crowded. Not quite our vibe, we must admit. So if a high density of people, partying and lots of activities, something that matches your energy, you're going to love the city of Cartagena. We, however, find that it takes away from the authentic aspects of normal Colombian life. Other than that, it is a unique city to see with a strong historical significance for Colombia.
My Whitney in Cartagena. There's a trash can. A taxi.
With a full beer,
A full beer. You thirsty?
it might be tea.
We met a friend. There's our friend.
Follow me.
He's just following us around the island, showing us the way.